where you could do like
horseshoe,
that type of thing. Wondering whether we'll see that. But Azir was banned, Zoe was banned. It's just the fun champions gone already.
Pretty standard. We saw Shyvana fall all the way through the ban list, though. I mean, with Jarvan left open and Kha'Zix being also at a pretty high level, certainly is a reason why we wouldn't necessarily see her. But I think it's a little bit crazy because, I mean, these junglers have their own preferences, but Shyvana has been seen to be very, very ridiculous. And maybe it's because in this sort of environment where you may not necessarily know each other as much, you might want to have a little bit more of that early game pressure. Shyvana, not a lot of early game pressure, relies on her lanes playing very, very safely. And especially when we have a look down towards the bottom side of the map, yes, Thresh has a lot of utility, but Tristana is going to cop it real hard. Like, it's going to be really, really difficult for Tristana to get any farm at all in this early game against the oppressive poke and power of this bottom lane coming out of North America.
Ezreal Xerath is going to be very punishing if
the word repugnant pops to mind.
Repugnant, that's another good word.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're on that hype train for the day on good words. But look, the poke damage that comes through from this Ezreal down in the bottom lane. And yes, Max, it's game one. We're seeing it already. The overheal meta coming out of Brazil. This is one way you can start to deal with poke a little bit. We haven't seen it tried and tested. Brazil are even going to maybe try and go for one of those unorthodox 5-man bot lane starts with the Thresh. But America are doing the same kind of thing as well. I am going to enjoy looking into this game as we go through the laning phase, settled on the bottom lane specifically.
I love this as well. It's like, it's all dark and quiet on Summoner's Rift as both teams going for the invade start. Not going to happen. I like this. Just like, if we're going to face check a brush, we're going to do it as a team.
Yeah.
We're not going to find anyone here. Brazil spending a little bit more time getting some wards down, maybe a little bit later, just to see whether they spot a red start coming in from CapitainMonkey.
And this is the type of thing that you can tell quite practiced. Obviously, players at the challenger level very aware to do this. Blurry
level one's also the easiest thing to train as well.
It is. Luckily, you can just kind of do that and reset the game. But where I was going with that, of course, old school tactic, you don't skill anything to start on Thresh. You can skill the Q if you actually catch somebody out, can see them. You don't skill Flay until going back to the lane. But look, you can see 2v2 bottom lane as always. Thankfully, no lane swap meta. Glad we don't have that one anymore. And it's going to be an interesting one. So we'll have Kleptomancy Ezreal, most likely, because of course, pairs with his Q, you get free items and extra gold just for hitting Q on other people.
Has been slightly nerfed, so it doesn't do quite as much damage on the old Mystic shot. I believe if it has been patched.
But you look at
where
how
we're up to here at this particular point in time.
How overtuned it was between Kleptomancy
it was busted as hell. Like, don't worry, he's still good.
And Scorch on top of it still means that he deals a lot of damage. That was a very early mid lane play out by CapitainMonkey. We're now up into top lane. You can see Camille trying to put the damage down onto Gratis. But let's talk about it. Okay, Relic Shields down in the bottom lane.
Yeah, explain it to me.
So what happens is, once you upgrade Relic Shield into the second stage, you end up getting a shield coming from it, just kind of passively. That's about 200 to 300 health, depending on the state of the game. From there, you take the Overheal rune, and then some people take Fleet Footwork, which ends up empowering and giving health back on an empowered auto-attack later on. So what it ends up doing is the amount of lifesteal you get from your items plus your runes actually ends up giving you this massive shield along with the Relic Shield later on into the game. And in teamfights, you can have up to like 500 extra health coming into a team fight, which is significant.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
A little bit disgusting, but at the moment, it is exactly what we're expecting. The Arcana Pulses flying forward. Xerath landing all of those comets there as well, because no boots to be picked up. Of course, like you mentioned, the Relic Shield has been started, so unable to quite walk out of these comets reliably until we get some extra movement speed. YoDa spending some time out of the lane, just having an explore like that.
Yeah, like seeing how YoDa's going to try and control this mid lane.
Always good to have a wander
as well. You're going to see this W get thrown out a lot, and the reason is you open with that because the Comet then has the easy hit. Because with the decreased movement speed, hang on, here's the engage.
Speaking of which, that's a stun coming out as well. The Ignite coming down on the bottom side of the map. Is it going to be enough damage? There it is! First Blood comes in for T-Money.
Now that is the problem with this Relic Shield setup is Obviously, yes, you do get heals coming through, but your damage is just overall going to be lower. But if you can bring a jungler to the fray, maybe they'll have enough.
Whoa, that's a big flash coming in from Blurry. Has he bitten more off than he can chew? No, he hasn't, as Team Luki is going to fall down, and Team Money now in a whole host of trouble. We've got teleports coming in. Team Money looking to try and turn this one around. You can see the mana bind doing a decent amount of work, giving him that mana back as well, as Flares gets the stun and gets the kill. 2-1 now for North America.
Yeah, overall, the North American team picking up the better end of that trade on the bottom lane. One teleport was used early on by Gratis, and because he cancelled it, that instantly signaled the go for the North American top laner. Flares comes down into the bottom lane, is able to get the hook shot onto the wall, get every part of his damage down, and really puts the North American team quite far ahead. You can see the CS difference in the bottom lane. These kind of differences end up ramping up very, very large. I've forgotten. I was looking for a big word.
Very, I think much.
Very, very large.
I think much is what you were looking for.
Much
very much.
Well, here's the thing. The difference is going to open up for Team Luke because you can punish quite heavily in this lane. Without an engage coming from Blurry, it's going to be very
tough. Punish? Oh, God. Okay, Sheen being picked up here by Flares, meaning that, yeah, Gratis probably go home. I think you've got about 150 mil of health right now, so might be worth getting the heck out of there. I think even if a hook shot lands a stun or something like that, he is just straight up dead.
Yeah, for sure.
He's going to have a little bit of opportunity here because there were no wards here for North America and wants to play it a little bit safe.
So build path down in the bottom lane for Ezreal into the tier first. Obviously wants that mana. We have seen Sheen quite commonly first as well. Adds to that damage from Kleptomancy Scorch that comes through.
Sort of the classic conversation that you have about Blue Ezreal and always have in the past as well, as Flurry's going to miss that hook, and the Q's going to land from Team Money.
The problem with throwing that hook out and not quite catching it is now there's just this massive window where the North American bot lane can actually just play aggressive. You can play up past the minion line, look for some of that poke to come through. It's the kind of thing where once that hook is down, there's really nothing that can punish without a jungler being here. Fortunately, though, for the Brazilian team, jungler is down in the bottom lane. Might see an engage come through here, but you can see already YoDa looking to roam down as well.
Yeah, and we got CapitainMonkey actually been pretty much invisible throughout this early game. He's gone back, grabbed himself that upgrade to the Tracker's Knife as well as his longsword that he's got sitting in his back pocket, but maybe playing a little bit far back because he's lost his Krug camp. We'll see. He's going to get punished. We'll see whether it happens. So far, it certainly hasn't, as North America's lanes have been playing extraordinarily well. And CapitainMonkey, despite being the diamond player in the team full of challenges, not hampered because no one's seen him.
Well,
apart from when he transferred through the mid lane.
Yeah, now he has been seen as well, though, unfortunately for CapitainMonkey. The good warding down through the bottom lane. We'll see whether we end up with any zombie wards coming through as well. Very popular in solo queue from the rune pages.
I think pretty popular basically everywhere there as well. As damn, Team Money has got like laser vision. It's doing well. Picked up a good sight for his Xerath.
I wonder whether he used that Team Money to get LASIK. Was that exactly how that went?
No. I don't think so, Stress. I don't think so at all. I think that was probably a stretch. As CapitainMonkey might have been sandwiched here a little bit. Flashes out of the way of the hook that was going to land from Blurry. So nice aim. Does mean that we do have a disengage on this bottom side. Zombie ward, like you were talking about, is going to be erected here by North America.
Yep, and we'll get placed down, get some of that extra vision. Of course, easier to kill and the like, but you got to go walk through that.
It's also
clear
free,
it out.
you know?
It's free.
Feels good, man.
You don't have to pay any team money for that, so it's all good.
Money funds, just not necessary, I don't think. I think his name's just good enough. Let's just leave it. Don't need to make team money funds. Unless you're going to make, like, you know... Oh, no.
I really hope you meant...
I've got a lot... There's a lot of danger here with discussing team money.
There is a lot of danger. A lot of danger in this game now as well. With the flash being down from CapitainMonkey, of course, now doesn't really have that level 6 engage that we'd be looking for quite as effectively. There is a hook landing.
That's a really nice hook. The Ignite coming down as well as Team Luke throws out the ultimate, but doesn't find anything at all. Explosive shot, not going to be enough. 100 health left on the Ezreal means that he will be okay. Did, of course, have the heal and the flash still up and available, so not too worried, but will have to go back to base now and grab himself some items.
It's interesting that Pekin Wolf actually didn't even react to that bottom lane engage. Didn't even move down in the lane. He had some time without Cassiopeia there, but look, Gratis now being caught in the ultimatum. Here comes the move from Pekin Wolf, forces the flash out.
Yep, no dice there. The heroic entrance was a little bit of a letdown, to be perfectly honest. Didn't look that heroic. He's just hanging out with his mate up on the top side of the map. Did mean that Gratis had to disengage, so problem solved. and sort it out.
Look, sometimes there are heroes that just are unsung, Max. It's the people you don't see sometimes. Just there in the background, you got to give them the credit. It's fine. Don't worry.
I mean, that's true, I
Not
guess.
everybody can be the superstar that comes through.
I think, like, singing a hero that didn't necessarily do anything is also a problem. I mean, there's two sides to every coin. I think, unless you found a one-sided coin.
Or unless you got one of those really crazy British ones with like 8 sides that are like little sides and then the 2 flat faces.
Yeah. I feel like if you drew a coin on MS Paint, for example, I believe it would only have one side. I mean, I guess there's
I think most things you draw in MS Paint technically only have one side.
I thought I was relatively safe on that one.
Unless you're apt at like 3D skills, like you're trying to do CAD drawings on it.
He's going to land. Flair's getting decent damage. There's no Mega Gnar to be coming in, but safety of the tower going to be enough. Definitely a heck of a lot of zoning going on here. Stratus moved away from this minion wave that is being pushed back towards him.
Dragon Attempt has been spotted. It's a Cloud Drake to start off. Ooh, that's so much damage coming through.
Ult comes in. Lantern's going to be taken. Immediately, the cancellation comes out from T-Money. He's like, I ain't wasting my time. If there's going to be a Lantern, sorts himself out.
Yeah, we saw for a moment with the keystones that come through, you can actually see some of the active keystones just above the portraits on the bottom left of the screen. If you're up to date with the icons, you can see that as expected, Kha'Zix's running the electrocute coming through, so that massive amount of damage that spikes at the end of it. We'll keep an eye. You can see the Comet. We've seen it in action here as well. That time, even catching the long-range Comet on that one.
Yeah, Lontra's struggling to get out of the way here. Is Peckenwolf, that was optimistic.
The cooldown's lower, but that doesn't mean you can always throw it out.
Flares was on his way in, though, so it makes sense as to why I was looking for something. Ultimatum comes down, but Flares, you ain't got a lot of health at all, and YoDa just needs to try and find his way in. No flash, no opportunity to get himself on top of the Camille, who hook-shots her way to safety. North America get out on the skin of their teeth. Brazil using a lot to get themselves up here. I mean, that is basically the kitchen sink thrown at North America and no dice being picked up.
And considering it came from pretty much a punish onto CapitainMonkey, I think the Brazilian team will be quite upset the fact they didn't actually convert anything into a kill there as Flares had come down too. But you can see CapitainMonkey has had quite a lot of presence here in this middle lane, being able to push back the Cassiopeia, make sure you can get as much under the enemy tower as possible, and that is making it quite difficult for Kha'Zix to actually have that impact on the game. So we haven't seen too much more than just invades from a vision out of Brazil. CapitainMonkey, considering, as we said, he's a diamond player by his own admission compared to some challenges, he's hanging in there pretty well for now.
I mean, what has he done, though?
Farmed.
He's farmed a lot.
6 on Javan. I think that's fine for if you're looking at a potential disparity. Now he transitions into a point of the game where if he jumps forward, gets the Cataclysm, catches the enemy carries, and then gets a Galio ult on top of him, theoretically, job done.
Well, the Cataclysmic entrance is certainly one of the most filthy combinations in League of Legends. Hopefully Flares doesn't screw it all up by using an ultimatum and pushing everyone out of the way. Gets a little bit frustrating.
That is
like the old Gragas Janna problem.
Ooh, yeah.
Used to run into. It's like, I'm going to throw out the cast. Oh no, there's a monsoon.
Yeah, that's always the difficult problem. But the problem right now for Brazil is the fact they're losing bot lane quite heavily. That CS gap maintaining and
was something that they sort of opted into here, though, Stress.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they do now that the mid game's rolling around in order to compensate for this. Move the Tristana around, try and take some turrets, something like that. But right now, bottom side, very, very healthy. This BF sword purchase may not necessarily be enough to get the Trist to any position where she's going to have a lot of lane dominance, because we're looking at Team Luke about to pick up the likes of his Manamune and a Sheen, and that power spike in onto itself is gigantic, let alone when the Trinity Force is completed.
Oh yes, we're going to see a lot of damage come out from Team Luke a little bit earlier than we'll see from Lontra. The thing about this Tristana, though, is it's going to take over the late game quite heavily, especially with that overheal. If you can't get the shields coming through, that's where Tristana will have the presence. You got to get there. That's what you've got to really survive through the early game. And there hasn't been too many large moves on the map yet. We still haven't seen the tower go down, although bottom lane is quite low. I think that's where it becomes dangerous for Brazil. If they cannot stem the bleeding coming from the North American pressure with this Ezreal, with this Xerath, perhaps going towards the middle lane, then you've got problems.
Well, you got Pimp down here on the bottom side, looking to possibly get himself something. Has upgraded the ultimate first, giving him that invisibility as he enters and exits the brushes. and also makes him adorable in red as T-Money misses the stun. This may mean the end of his life as he flashes himself out of the way. The Ignite comes in. It's a bit of a walk away. Not sure whether you necessarily need to do that. And T-Money, sorry, he's going to be A-OK. Throws out an ultimate just for funsies. We've got a teleport coming in here. And no, not going to be able to grab the kill as the play was indeed beautiful. T-Money, oh, you're playing with fire. True Shot Barrage is going to finally lock down that tricky little bug that was surviving for so long. And Peckenwolf now just looking to try and get himself out of the way. In goes CapitainMonkey, finally doing something. Big Cataclysm onto the backline as Blurry's going to die. Follows suit as YoDa was sort of a one-man army trying to take on all of North America. And somehow amongst all of it, everyone on NA survived.
Massive fight from the North American side of things. They managed to get Team Money out of there with his life early on. Wolf gets enough time to come down towards the bottom side. Flares with the teleport on the backside because he had teleport advantage. Gratis still had his TP down from that mid lane engage earlier, and it meant that NA just had the numbers advantage and then were able to mop up the last few kills from CapitainMonkey coming back into the fight. That's what we wanted to see from him, was that engage potential, turns around the fight. I think it was made a little easier by the fact that Team Luke grabbed that True Shot Barrage kill on the opening to the fight, but still, it's a turret from it as well. And we have gone from what was quite an even game state with only one trade happening to North America being about 4,000 gold up on this one.
Yeah, this is domination at this point, Stress. It's a real worry. Getting solo gold is there for there as well for the first turret blood coming out for Team Luke means that he's so close. Actually gets the full blue Ezreal build as we've got a double taunt coming down here. Peckenwolf taking a lot of damage. He's not very tanky on this Galio, opting in for the newer build of the Rotted Ages, wanting to get a bit more of that extra damage, making use of the buffs that he did recently receive as well. But not going to fall down, is still going to be A-OK. No one on Brazil going to fall just yet either.
And that's just where, as you said, the blue Ezreal build coming through the Iceborne Gauntlet.
Yeah.
Still one of the most annoying items in the game. Blue Ezreal, whenever he comes back into meta, everybody always remembers how difficult it is to play around a champion like this, who can basically just continuously slow you.
And when he's got a Xerath on his team, dude, like, it's just not fun. It's anti-fun.
Horrible. And the fact that he now gets free boots as well from it as well, from his runes coming through. That's the set of boots you can see here. Obviously a little
inspiration tree, of course,
from the end of it. Can't buy boots early on, but it's the sacrifice that you give away.
Are you going to anyway? I mean, you've got the Arcane Shift. You'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah, exactly. But we'll see where the Galio is fine in the middle lane. That's 3 people around him, but he does have CapitainMonkey on the top side. No real engage attempt coming from Brazil, and that means top lane is the next focus.
Team Luke accidentally pressing the Q button before the E button. Guys, if you're playing at home, try and do the Q afterwards. Gives it extra range.
So I'm not making excuses here, but this is a point that I wanted to talk about earlier. A lot of these players have had the majority of their experience playing online. We're now in a more of a low ping environment, obviously playing on a tournament server, a little bit different here.
Helps.
It's quite a help, especially when you look at some of the pings you get in America.
It's not helping Blurry. Nope. His vision certainly going towards his namesake as he's going to get obliterated.
T-Money should have used some of that T-Money to get LASIK for the rest of it.
I feel like he should be like flashing a flare all the time, you know? I'll have to check in on T-Money whether there's any skins you can get for Xerath that have grills. I haven't actually looked at Xerath's mouth before.
Battlecast Xerath, maybe?
You know? Yeah, I guess
that's
that
probably
closest. The
slightly medieval.
The Shuriman Xerath that's all gold and stuff. I mean, that's probably a decent option. Rift Herald going to bite the dust. There's North America just taking everything and more. Mid lane out of turret, struggling to stay alive as the last remaining turret here on the map for Brazil, who are just starting to bleed objectives and bleed gold. That dragon not being revisited just yet. There's a Cloudy still chilling out there, but him, you're in trouble. Gonna go invisible for the moment as there's the ultimate, leaps his way out, and he is going to survive.
Don't worry about Rift Herald being killed. She's coming back. Don't worry. It'll be mid lane that gets it, but for now, Galio ult comes through.
Yeah, and that is a very dead Gratis. I mean, we only needed about 150 mil commentary to talk about how dead he was just there. That was a stretch, but I'm going to have more, guys. We'll see exactly how well we can get with the terrible 150 mil puns.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much volume of 150 mil puns are going to come through today, but I know you'll bring a lot of volume.
About 150 mil, Stress. Okay, good hook. He's going to land from Blurry. He does throw himself out. A bit of a lantern that's probably gotten Lontra killed, and it certainly has. Blurry now just going to run with his tail between his legs, saying my 80 carry did nothing, guys. And Flares just jumps in for a sick kill steal. North America playing with their food a little bit here as we're heading towards a 10,000 gold lead, sitting to the tune of about 7 at this particular point in time, but it feels inevitable that we are going to have a North American victory at this particular point. Can Brazil dig deep and turn something around? It'll be really tough. But if YoDa can rally his team together, they might be able to make something happen. I mean, he still has a CS lead, and they have a hyper carry for the late game.
Yeah, it's going to have to go quite late, though, for that actually to happen. You can see Tristana barely on 1 item. Has that Infinity Edge completed, but the Ezreal is standing across the Rift from it. Already 2 items, well on the way to a 3rd. Has the Rift Herald.
He hasn't been back in ages either, man. Like, he's got like a full buy coming in next round.
And of course, they got the Rift Herald for the next pressure play. That's the problem with what the Brazilian bot lane were going for, is like, it can be very effective, but you have to weather the storm. You have to get there to the point where you actually can deal damage in team fights and not just get blown up very early on. It's part of the risk of this Thresh pick as well, because you live and die on the hook. If it doesn't land, you basically cannot get anything done, especially against such a heavy poke lane that punishes you as soon as you move forward.
Yeah, there's a really bad dating pun that I could have gone with there, but I decided to opt out because you guys have certainly copped too much of that recently. Flair's Trinity Force is completed as well, heading towards that Ravenous Hydra by the looks of things, but the moment just happily shoving this lane forward, making sure Gratis cannot move himself towards the rest of his team and utilize that Mega Nart team fighting potential. If Flares does that, it will mean that NA just have so much control and power, giving their added tankiness with Jarvan and the Galio, of course, teaming up with that Cataclysmic entrance, and then having Team Oni and Team Luke sit behind. Like, it's really scary because this 4-man squad is something that's very difficult to deal with.
Oh, incredibly difficult, especially when you look at the fact that if a big team fight does start, it's not even like you can give the team fighting to Brazil, as you were talking about. You've got that Cataclysm that comes through. You've got the Galio is so incredibly strong at denying any engage from Brazil that they're likely to try and engage the next time they can actually group as a team, but it's likely going to backfire at this point. So far behind in gold, they're going to get cleaned up, and North America would look towards a Baron. There's that outside chance of it happening, but we're about to crest the 10,000 gold.
Yeah. And if we have a look for where the vision is for North America here, I feel like they could be potentially a little bit more aggressive with positioning on this top side of the map, but they're playing towards the bottom side, and you can see the vision that they have in that bottom side jungle for Brazil is just oppressive. So they'll know exactly when Gratis is going to move around. Rift Herald now going to be utilized here in the mid lane. Certainly have been working together really well to work out exactly what they want to be doing as far as strategy. And I mean, you talk about the fact that CapitainMonkey not necessarily... Oh, hold that thought, as Flair's going to get flayed back, but they do take care of the turret. Flash comes out, heroic entrance keeps Flair's alive with that damage reduction, and it's even the Rift Herald still able to survive through all of this, and Gratis in so much trouble. Ultimate flies forward, but he's not going to be hunting for Nas. He's going to try and soften this Brazilian roster. Oh, just so much danger here that NA are allowed to throw towards Brazil without any real retaliation.
True shot Praj used just to clear out a couple of minions on the bottom, pushed through. I mean, NA just kind of marching forward. Look at the CS differences. There's a 70 CS difference in the 80 carry roll. Our observers, thankfully, changed over to the total gold accumulated throughout the game. Ezreal is almost double Tristana at this point with just over 10,000 gold. It's a little closer now, but that is still a staggering difference between these two. And
Clestomancy is just silly, dude.
Look at Xerath right now. I'll draw your attention to the other thing where you can actually go into debt now in order to buy items. So a little bit of an additional way.
Do you know what the interest rate is? I haven't actually gone in on that.
I don't know, but considering...
Looks pretty good.
It does. It seems to be 0%. It seems to be 0% interest for...
Whoa. Why isn't everyone taking that? That's an incredible deal.
I mean, you kind of have to give away a few things on that.
Okay.
You also got a pretty low credit limit to start. You got to build that up throughout the game.
All right. I mean, I'm one of those guys that hears about a pyramid scheme and I'm like, let's do it. I'll give you all my money.
Really?
Absolutely.
We'll come back after the break to I have an offer for you. At this point, there's an offer of a hook from Blurry, but I don't think they want to take it.
That's like landing a hook and killing yourself. Like,
that's exactly what that was.
That's exactly what that was. But I mean, it's just really sad that normally you should be rewarded for landing a hook. Like Team Luke was rewarded for landing a Q and doing a third of the damage. Third of the health bar that Kha'Zix had.
It's disgusting. And you can see that a lot of where that gold came from was the Kleptomancy coming through from Ezreal, the extra damage, extra gold that comes from it as well. It's one of these things where, although Ezreal can have a lot of impact in the late game and will have a lot of impact in this late game, the pace from Brazil just isn't quite enough to catch up. Again, Tristana's items, because you started Relic Shield, yes, okay, you'll get a little extra gold generation, but you also put yourself quite heavily far behind the damage curve early on, and you're forever trying to catch up, always trying to match up on this damage, and just being so far behind Ezreal is going to be an almost impossible task to beat.
Yeah, Flair's actually hunting for people trying to do something to this Baron. Yes, teleport's going to be enough to get at least CapitainMonkey out of there, who's down to about half health. Decent Lantern does at least get Gratis out of the way, but Flair's, he wants him, finds the stun. The ultimatum comes in and he just gets deleted. No dice at all if he wanted to get anything done. CapitainMonkey, a little bit optimistic, but it's enough to keep them there. That is going to secure a double kill in for Flair's. 3 dead on the side of Brazil, including the jungler. That should be a Baron here, despite the lack of smite for NA.
Yeah, both smites not available, so it's not like it's anything more than a 50-50 at this point, but we'll see whether
I feel like one of Luke's Qs is going to do as much damage as smite anyway,
that is
to be honest.
True. There is a lot of damage coming from NA. I want to talk a little bit about how their strategy has worked. Flares has basically jumped into the fight every single time onto 4 people and survived through it all. Partly because of the Galio, but also because of the fact that he's just so incredibly far ahead in this game. 5-0-3, this is where Camille just completely takes over the game. Now has a Ravenous Hydra completed on top of that Trinity Force. Means
and I hope that is going to be a Guardian Angel coming in next. Like Cloth Armor is sitting there, and Flares, I like 3 item damage items.
Yeah.
Flares is the guy that's going to bring it to you.
That's true. Also gonna work very effectively if you end up going in like
what he's going to be doing. Certainly works.
Yeah. I think he can even easily control the side lane right now. Has a 2-level advantage. Yeah, there's a Frozen Mallet on the side of the Nab, but considering the actual item advantage coming from this Camille, should be quite an easy push through onto the towers. And means we're dare I say it, gradually getting closer to a 20k gold limit, gold difference at this point.
Oh man, Hook once again going to land blurry. He learned from that the last time though. Not going to overly commit or anything like that, although I believe he didn't follow after that last Q that he landed as well onto the Ezreal. He just died in his own Wraith camp, which I guess is a Raptor camp now, but old habits die hard.
Well,
okay, there's the flash from YoDa. Nice double stun to come in as they get rid of T-Money straight away, but that Cataclysm did so much work. YoDa finally locks down Luke, who's died after such a long time with so much money and so much power. YoDa getting that shutdown down could be important as Brazil sort of limp away with a victory.
He's not meant to shut him down, he's meant to train him, Max. That's the point. That's the whole arc through the 5th movie. But at this point, there is a little bit of a comeback, perhaps. It's slowly building, but you can see just how effectively the mid and top laner are actually punishing on the opposite side of the rift. I say a comeback, it's like the teeniest chance, but that was a good engage.
Watching how quickly that turret fell down made it difficult. But yeah, you know, YoDa taking matters into his own hands, getting that flash petrifying gaze onto 2. Certainly should have been able to net him a little bit more, but when you're that far behind, it is just so difficult. 15,000 gold is going to the lead here for NA as Flares finds himself a Kha'Zix, and he can't go invisible quickly enough as the ultimatum just follows him to his doom.
Yeah, at that point, even if you are going invisible, he is stuck in the cage.
Yeah.
At that point,
like, you can't see me, but I guess I'm already dead.
Yeah, that's a 4-level advantage for you, plus multiple item advantage.
Yeah, I don't think we need to go into details of like how Flares is ridiculously strong.
Basically 3-shot the Kha'Zix at that point. And he can do that to just about anybody. I think he can even, if it's Mininar, he probably does that. Just walks up, jumps on.
I feel like even Mega
insta-kills.
To be honest. He's only got a Frozen Mallet. There's another hook that's going to land. Flares not feeling too worried about it though. Ravenous Hydra keeping him very, very healthy as he gets a couple of hits off, and the lifesteal keeps him pretty much at about 3/4 or something like that with 3 people wailing on him. That's a problem.
Even stops to just kill the ward as well. He's like, if you come closer, I'll lifesteal off you as well. But I'll just kill this ward and keep moving forward. It has been a little bit more of a fractured setup here for CapitainMonkey's team as they're trying to push through multiple lanes. Not quite the 4-man stack that we've seen, but that was a little bit of damage that came from Xerath.
What? This is support. Oh god.
With a haunting, guys.
That's the Leandries,
and
it's the full burning face.
how you deal with a snake, Max. You of all people should know, right? Like,
with a burning face? No, I think that's what happens after a snake bites you. And then you die, I think.
That's
at least
kind of
an Australian snake. We got a lot of the really dangerous ones over here as the heroic entrance comes in. Flares deals with the Gnar very, very quickly, and Pimp's going to really struggle. The double kill comes in. Flash probably unnecessary, but that's going to be the stun onto YoDa. The priority target as the shutdown does come down. YoDa getting his revenge as Luke doesn't land the Q, and therefore the Snake Lady is going to walk away with her life intact. Hook landing onto a Galio is not going to secure anything as this turret is going to fall as well. Pings go down onto the open inhibitor onto the top side. That's going to be base broken. North America one step closer to a victory. I was about to say to the edge, and I'm about to break, but I decided not.
Brazil are about to break at this point because their 2 inhibitors so far have been broken. Look, North America, we were looking at the Ezreal to be the big carry. It's turned so much into the Camille, and that's allowed Team Luke as that Ezreal to just continue farming up, continue being this massive threat. Here comes maybe an engage attempt as the rest of Brazil have spawned. There's no Mega Gnar bar, remember?
Yeah, that's going to be the flash play to try and get him in there. Look at that damage. I think that was mostly Arcano Pulse. It's just silly as Gratis still taking a lot of punishment from that ability as well, even with the Spectre's Cow completed. True Shot Barrage does narrowly miss Gratis, who limps away as his mini Gnar. But man, with 2 inhibitors now dead, only 1 more on the docket here for North America. They're going to go back, grab their last round of items, and most likely finish things off because look at that Camille. I mean, she's now got the completed Guardian Angel and the Spectre's Cowl. It's so, so scary. Basically legendary if YoDa hadn't have stymied that towards the end of that last engage.
And you could see some of Flair's experience playing through here. Of course, this is a player that's gone to the promotion tournament multiple times with multiple different teams. He didn't instinctively TP into the fight, even though he had teleport available, because they just saw that Gratis used his. They knew that they could get the rest of the North American squad out of the fight, and that means there's no point in using it. Now you have teleport advantage for the rest of what is likely to be the game. This game shouldn't last too much longer. We are just about to crest 20,000 gold difference between these two teams. Baron is spawning in 1 minute. It's going to be one of the easiest Barons you've ever seen, unless Pimp can somehow jump over the wall, get that smite steal away, but he's level 12, CapitainMonkey is level 14. Here is where we'd have to see an experience difference between a Challenger player and a Diamond player, but I don't even think that is going to be enough.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. Also, North America just flat out do not need the Baron right here.
That is
2 inhibitors down, they can just follow super creeps and not have to go for any sort of 50-50 Baron smite situations. Don't even need to worry about setting it up, as all of the vision for Brazil is over there. But North America just said, no, we don't really care. 20 seconds left to go. They should be able to crack this last inhibitor turret if they want to. It's going to be the opening with the ultimate as there's a flash from YoDa. Doesn't find the stun onto Team Luke, though, is now free to get so much damage in. I feel like a lot of it's the Xerath as Flares jumps into the backline. He'll be able to finish everybody off. Does grab himself a triple in the end as T-Money just flashes for the fun of it. That's the ace for North America, and that will be game number 1 going to the NA squad. CapitainMonk captaining his team very, very nicely for the first victory.
Aye, aye, Captain. Quick ace comes through. CapitainMonk's team take game 1 of this best of 3. When you get to that 20,000 gold limit, as you said, Max, you don't need that Baron. If the engage comes through, you just end up taking